According to combined reporting from Kotaku and Bloomberg, it looks like French video game publisher Ubisoft could be acquired sometime in the very near future. On Friday, Bloomberg reported that private equity firms have begun circling over the company, including interest from firms like Blackstone Inc. and KKR & Co., which are two of the biggest private equity firms in the world. According to Bloomberg, there's preliminary takeover interest in Ubisoft, but the company hasn't entered into, quote, any serious negotiations with potential acquirers, unquote. Now, interest from big private equity firms alone isn't enough to signal an acquisition necessarily. After all, that's what equity firms do. They buy other companies, they try to inject more money or resources to make them more profitable, and they turn them around and sell them for an even larger profit. So that on its own, just having interest from these equity firms probably isn't enough to signal that Ubisoft's going to be sold. However, according to Kotaku, they have sources internally that are saying that Ubisoft has been preparing to be bought for a little while now. Specifically, Kotaku reports that Ubisoft has been working closely with several outside consultancy firms in recent years to audit various parts of its business. In short, this is kind of a way for Ubisoft to tidy up its books to make themselves look attractive for a potential sale. Obviously, there's been a lot of acquisitions going on as the video game industry continues to consolidate, starting with Microsoft and Bethesda, and then Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. Then there's Sony with the PlayStation side of things, who's been rearranging, their studios in Japan. They've also been making purchases of their own, like Nixxes Software, Bungie, and also Housemarque. Obviously, there's a lot of acquisitions going on. Additional reasoning kind of being offered up by both stories in a way that Ubisoft would be in a position to be acquired is that their stock price has been taking a huge dip, as well as reports about production issues they've had with Assassin's Creed mainline stuff, as well as side stuff that they just haven't published after 8 years, like Skull and Bones, right? So there's development issues going on, stock prices going down. It seems like it might be a good time for potential investors to swoop in and kind of get a deal on Ubisoft, who has a lot of established video game IPs that could be very lucrative if, they spun up in the right way. There's also problems with Ghost Recon and Far Cry, right? Just all starting to kind of dip in interest. So it's kind of ripe for again, an equity firm or potentially a larger publisher like Microsoft or Sony, let's say, to swoop in, give them some more funds, give them some more resources, maybe some more, like a different management style or whatever it takes to kind of get those established IPs back on track, and then kind of like restoring those IPs to their former glory in some kind of way, which would then, be lucrative for kind of everyone involved. Along those lines, Kotaku points out that if someone was to buy Ubisoft right now, they'd be getting a huge discount. The stock was over $110 a share in July 2018, and now it's at $41 a share. Like I said, the stock's been diving down. Now, in addition to the dropping stock price and whatever issues Ubisoft might be having with production on the game development side of things, the company was also kind of embroiled in controversy over sexual harassment and toxic workplace issues with, top-level employees at the company being kind of implied in those accusations. So with all of those different things combined, it seems like it'd be a pretty good time for any top-level executives still left at Ubisoft to kind of jump ship and cash out while they still can before the stock price dips even further or things get real bad with any of the accusations and lawsuit stuff. Kotaku puts it really simply, saying Ubisoft has also been hit by an ongoing wave of attrition amongst its senior talent. It continues to struggle with the aftermath of a workplace reckoning over sexual misconduct, and some of its biggest projects are constantly delayed or being trapped in development hell. As Kotaku points out, Ubisoft is a family company, and they're saying, at least in this article, that with the departure of Yves Guillemot's son, Charlie Guillemot, who left last year, there's no relatives left to take over the family business. Also, in terms of mainline Ubisoft games coming out, it looks like some of those are going to be a lot further out than Ubisoft anticipated. They even went as far to turn an Assassin's Creed DLC into kind of like this stopgap game, and that created some issues. So it's all kind of a big whirlwind or a perfect storm for someone to come in and acquire the company. Now, with all of that being said, and Ubisoft looking like a prime acquisition target, the question becomes, who's gonna buy them? Is it gonna be Microsoft, who's obviously been super developer hungry? Will it be, PlayStation and Sony, who need to bolster their own library of creator talent? Or maybe it's another video game publisher who wants to strengthen their position in the games industry. Or maybe we even get a curveball like a Google or a Facebook/Meta or an Amazon, who all clearly have enough money to buy a company like Ubisoft just completely outright. Your guess maybe is as good as mine. So let me know in the comments what you think. Who do you think would be a good fit for Ubisoft, or who do you think might come out of the wings to buy up the company? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, everybody, and if you want more video game news and updates, be sure to stay tuned right here to Inside Gaming.